Hi, I'm Hannah and this is Piles of Books, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read daily last year and then the books that I am reading daily this year. I've never really been one to do like a daily devotional or something, but last year I had two books that I really wanted to do that were that way, and then I ended up adding a third one a couple weeks into the year. And I enjoyed it so much that I chose some more books to do the same with this year. So I'll talk about the ones that I did last year and just tell you a little bit about them. And then I will share what I am doing this year because some of them are a little bit different. So the first one is Mom Heart Moments by Sally Clarkson. Now, my husband bought this for me the year it came out, which I believe was 2021, so for Christmas of 2021. And I started it, and I think I read like maybe through April in 2022, and then that was as far as I made it. And I did read some randomly through the year, but I didn't read really anymore after, I don't know, mid-April, I think. So this one I really wanted to do last year, and I loved it so much I was tempted to do it again this year, but I had some others picked out, so I chose to wait, and I'll probably do it again next year. But as with all of Sally's other books, there was a ton of encouragement in here, and there was just like a Bible verse or two at the top, and then mostly like, stories or things from her life, raising her kids, and then some questions at the bottom of the page that just really made you think. So I loved this. There were many days where I would take a picture and send it to a friend, from that day's reading or something. Like it really touched me. It was very encouraging, and I think that if you're a mom, that you would greatly enjoy this, and I think it's also a great gift to give to friends. So I have a few friends who will probably get this for Christmas this coming year. Okay, the next one is this Shakespeare for Every Day of the Year by Ali Essery, I think is how you say her name. She has a few other books, like Poetry for Every Day of the Year, Poetry for Every Night of the Year, and some seasonal ones, I believe. This I got secondhand. Let's see. I have to think about this I have to go get my tea. I'll be right back. Just a side note real quick, I brought it in here to show. I'm drinking this Ticino vanilla nut mixture. I can link below where I got it from, but you can get it all over the place. But I am really making a valiant effort to decrease my coffee consumption tremendously. And so this is a delicious coffee alternative that I have been drinking in the afternoons. I have tried another one from this brand. I think it was just the original and it was not good. But I like this vanilla nut, and they have a bunch of different varieties. But anyway, side note. Okay, where was I? Yes, Shakespeare for Every Day of the Year. So I picked this up in the fall of 2022, and I was very excited to get to it. It was a really fun book. I don't have a ton of experience with Shakespeare, so this was like, it made me want to read more of his works, which is always exciting to me, when something makes you want to learn more about a specific subject or author or something. So the book just there's like some historical context, or just, context from the play, and then a little excerpt from a play or a sonnet. And one thing that I really liked that she did was she pulled in, like, she incorporated holidays. So, like, there was one for Valentine's Day. There were some around Easter, and then like for Christmas. And I enjoyed the historical context too, because Christmas was celebrated quite differently in Shakespeare's day compared to, you know, what we think of Christmas now. So I enjoyed a lot about this book. I can definitely see myself rereading it, you know, in the years to come, and also sharing it with my kids one of these days once they get a little bit older. And then the last one that I did daily last year was this 1 year book of poetry. Now, I did not enjoy this book so much, but it was fine. And I did enjoy the reading of poetry every day. I suppose I just didn't necessarily enjoy a lot. I feel like I didn't enjoy a lot of the poems that were chosen for this, but that's totally fine. Poetry, again, is not something that I have a ton of experience with, but I am trying to broaden my horizons, and for the sake of my kids and my own self too. But I was definitely introduced to a lot of poets that I was not aware of before, and there were some poems by poets that I have heard of, but I haven't necessarily heard these poems, and I enjoyed them. There were a number of hymns too that had been poems before they were hymns that were in here, and then like I had just seen that there was a couple of poems from Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. So anyway, this was there's a poem on this side, and then there's like some, you know, again, historical context or whatever, a little bit of explanation for some of the more difficult poems on this side. So I will keep this book on my shelf. I don't know that I will ever reread it, but I can see, you know, making it a part of like my kids' school year or something one of these days. But so those are the books that I read, my daily books last year is what I called them. And I am so glad that I made that a habit. Okay, so then for this year, I didn't want to, there were a few books that I wanted to buy. But then I thought, no, I am going to try really hard to just not buy books for myself this year. So I just chose some things off my shelf. So I knew for starters that I wanted to do poetry again. So I have a number of just small, I mean, they're not all pretty volumes like this, but just a number of individual poets like this one here. So I just got this at the thrift store for 50 cents, and I think it is brand new. It's so beautiful. Anyway, so I'm just reading. Originally I was just going to do like a poem a day, but most of these are fairly short, so I've done kind of just like a page or something a day, or just, you know, read for a few minutes. I have enjoyed them. They've been fine. I wouldn't necessarily say so far that she's my favorite poet ever, but they've been good. I'm glad that I'm reading them. And so then when this is done, I have another short poetry collection that I shared in my nonfiction books I want to read this year. So I will do that one next. And then if I get through that one as well, which I'm sure I probably will, then I have a couple of others to choose from. So next is this, Brush Up Your Shakespeare. I talked about this one also in my nonfiction books for 2024. And so I had planned to I didn't go through here and count or anything. I've just been doing one a day. So this is kind of similar to the other one in that there's an excerpt from, they've all just been plays so far, no sonnets, and then a little bit of historical context. So these are kind of more like quotable things, I guess, or phrases and things that we quote today that we are not even aware originated with Shakespeare. So that's been fun. Okay, next I have Timothy Keller's The Songs of Jesus. Now this is new to me, but I got it at the thrift store back in October or November. And I think that this is brand new too. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's ever been read. I have only read one of Tim Keller's books in the past. It was The Prodigal God. I read that a few years ago, and it was so good. So I was really excited to see this at the thrift store, and I grabbed it, and it has not been a disappointment. Today's the 11th. I'm 11 days in, and I have just really enjoyed this book. So at the top, again, it's just I guess like most devotionals probably, there's a bit that you read, and then there's just a small section here of, historical context or digging in to the meaning of things a little bit, and then there's a prayer at the end. So um, I'm really glad that I picked this up. It's been enjoyable, and it's been a blessing to me so far. So I am really excited for the rest of the year with that. And then I have My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. I have attempted this book many times, many times. And I've just never been able to make it through. So I feel like this doesn't need a ton of introduction because most Christians are aware of this. It's definitely a classic. I have really enjoyed it. I've got 3 things that I've already tabbed, and we're only, 11 days in. I have found that there's a lot of like a verse at the top, or just like a small part of a verse, and some of them have been fine. Others I feel like are just like totally taken out of context, and I don't enjoy that. So I most of the time I don't read. I've just decided to just not read the verses because I feel like it just kind of ruins it for me a little bit, I guess. So okay, now the last 2 things will expire by Easter. And so I will probably replace it with some other literary work, like a, what would you say, like a difficult literary work. So I have Dante's The Divine Comedy. This is in my Harvard Classics set that I got at a garage sale for $25 last summer. And so there's I think there's even like a Facebook group or email group or something. I am not participating in it at all. I'm just doing their reading plan. I think it's just called 100 Days of Dante. And so you start 100 days before Easter, and you read one canto until Easter. So they're fairly short, just like 2 or 3 pages each. I was totally lost. I mean, like, I knew the idea of this book, I suppose, but this translation is not easy to read, and I just was feeling like if I'm going to, put so much into reading this, I really want to understand it. So I bought this A Beginner's Guide to Dante's Divine Comedy by Jason Baxter. This is, I guess you could say, endorsed by the Literary Life podcast group, which I highly recommend if you haven't heard of them. And so far I got this several days after, or actually like probably 2 weeks after I had started this, because this started back on December 22nd, I believe. And this just came in the mail the other day. So I have only read the introduction and then part of the first chapter. So there's not like a chapter, describing or explaining like each canto, but there's like 5 chapters or 8 chapters or something, just whatever the sections that are grouped together in the book. So I am really glad that I bought this. This has been very helpful for me to see some of the things like I just was totally missing. And so I know that I am not gleaning everything from the original work that I could be, and that is okay. I'm very glad that I'm reading it. I'm glad that I'm understanding it a little bit better, and I will, I'm sure I will revisit it at some point. So those, this is what I'm doing this year, and then my ones from last year will just go on the shelf to be recycled later on at some point. And I guess obviously, aside from these things that I'm reading every day, I do also read my Bible every day, and I'm doing just a regular, simple read through the Bible in a year plan that is mapped out in the back of my Bible. I've done different plans over the years, I don't always stick with them, but I thought this would be easy to just have it right in my Bible. So I'm going to do that. And I'm doing some daily scripture writing as well. So I know that seems like a lot probably, but I really enjoy starting my mornings out slowly. And for the most part, I do this all at once in the mornings, and it takes me maybe like 45 minutes or so to get through everything. And then by that time, I'm, ready to face the day, I feel like. So, good reading in before I need to mom and wife for the day. So, thank you for stopping by. I would love to hear if you have read any of these, what you thought of them, and also if you have daily books that you read through the year or favorites from past years. I have quite a few that I've just collected from different places over the years already on my shelves, but I'm also trying to keep a list so that, when I'm planning for 2025 or in years to come, I can have some new options to choose from. So anyway, thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video.